What if I told you that in addition to there being a whole set of unwritten rules that you're being evaluated against in a job interview, there are also a whole set of unwritten rules that you can use in a job interview to suss out if you're going to work in an environment that's good for you. I'm Dr. Anna Schmidt, and I research the unwritten rules of work for the working class, neurodivergence, and intersections of race and gender. And in this video, I'm going to tell you some questions to ask and things to notice in your job interviews. If you ask in the interview what the workplace culture is like, they're going to give you a politically correct, good response, or they're not going to be allowed to interview for the company. It's going to get back to their higher up and they're going to get screwed. So here's what you can ask instead. First, notice how many interviews they want you to do. Is it an appropriate amount for the role? Multiple interviews for an entry-level position can have a purpose, but if they're all asking you the same questions and they're just rotating you around different people and asking you the same thing, they're looking for if you're a culture fit. And if that's that important to them that they're spending a lot of money having these people interview you that many times, that's not a sign that they're very versatile. Now, you can have multiple interviews where they're asking different things. Like, for example, I've been in a technical interview where they asked about my technical skills, like statistical analysis, versus a case study interview where they wanted to see my consulting skills and how I would solve a problem, which was different from a behavioral interview where they asked more about my soft skills and ways to show that. That makes sense. That's evaluating different skills. It also wasn't for entry level. That was for when I was a senior consultant. But if you're just being passed around and asked the same shit, something's fishy there. They're very conformist, and there's likely a big unwritten rule of compliance there. If you're not a neurotypical middle-class white dude, you might have a hard time. And even if you are, but you like bringing up new ideas and being heard, you might want to go to another interview. Third, be wary of any culture fit assessments that don't have a clear criteria. This can often be a way just to exclude people. Are they actually matching your interests? Is there something to be matched, or are they just looking for if you will conform to them? 4, look for inconsistency in what they say their values are and how they treat you throughout the process. If they say they value transparency, but you never know what the next step in the hiring process is, that's a red flag. If they say they value work-life balance, but you're getting emails from recruiters at 10 p.m., that's a red flag. Notice the behavior and not just what they say they're doing. Now, when it's your turn to ask questions at the end, one, I always ask, how do you measure job performance? And you'd be surprised how few companies have been able to answer this. If they say they just do it on a person by person basis, run for the hills. The most toxic places I've been in said this because they don't know what good job performance looks like. They're evaluating based on office politics and if they like you. Other good questions to ask. How does your team handle disagreement? What does success look like in the first 90 days? And when was the last time you received a great piece of feedback? Conflict is going to happen anywhere, and anywhere that denies there's conflict is hiding something. Just like they're expecting you in the interview to be able to tell them about times that you problem solved, that you had a group project where there was conflict and how you resolved it, etc. Ask similar questions politely and not with like a insidious tone, but it's good to know how people approach these conflicts. Or do they bury it under the rug or do they address it? Listen to not just what they say, but how comfortable they are answering these questions. Because discomfort might mean that they're hiding something about their culture or that they're not telling you the truth. Understanding unwritten rules of interviewing can help you find workplaces where you will thrive. I help both job seekers and organizations navigate unwritten rules of work. If you've experienced unwritten rules that were confusing, tell me in the comments. If you have other hiring questions you like to ask, share with the wealth. Follow me for more insight on the unwritten rules of work. I have a book coming out later this year with all my research so far after the past decade.